Hello and welcome to this demo of the API Data Input app. This is an app I've created to make life easy with ingesting data from APIs, processing the data, and then storing it in either a KV store or an index. So let's dive straight in. Here is the homepage of the app. At the top, we have a little bit of information about the app and then some tutorials. So here we've got videos. The demo walkthrough is what you're watching now. So you can click on that and watch it again. Or we've got UI walkthroughs. So these are within the app and it will take you around to the different buttons and explain what they all do. Then at the bottom, if you need any help or you have any ideas, get in touch. So let's crack on. So at the top here, the navigation, you've got manage and new inputs. Let's start off with a new input. So then on the manage page, we have something to manage. Cool. So this is an example of one of the UI tutorials, which you can reset and replay if you want to go through all of these back on the home page. So we'll step through this and make a new input. So at the top here, we've got to choose the output type. So KV store or index. Next, we have the basic configuration. So this is like the input name, the API URL, and then any HTTP headers for authentication, etc. Here we've got fetch to fetch a preview of the data. And then on the right hand side, this is the JSON preview panel. So this will show us the JSON data. And then from here, we can also manipulate the data too, but we'll get to that when we get to the processing part. Next, we've got the Splunk configuration. So how often do we want the input to run and where do we want to pull it? So for KV stores, we select a KV store. And then for index, we'll select and create an index as appropriate. We then have the mode option. So this mode is to whether overwrite or append the existing data within the KV store. Next, we have the data processing section. This section is for manipulating the data before it's then stored. I think before we talk about this, it's important to know, if you're not too familiar with KV stores, how important the lookup definition file is. So the lookup definition defines what the KV store looks like. And if it doesn't match the data schema, then it's going to cause you all sorts of problems while trying to search it. So whenever you manipulate the data, change keys, remove keys, etc., make sure you update the lookup definition accordingly. So some of the data processing options we've got, like, is excluding keys, so excluding JSON paths, renaming keys, and then how we want to separate the events. And then once we finish, click save. Sounds simple. Hopefully, the demo gods are with us and this works. So we'll call it products. And I've got this sort of dummy API for returning JSON products. Cool, so we've hit another tutorial, we've hit a new step. That's going to talk us through the preview. So we can click on a key to rename it. So we haven't got to modify the field on the left-hand side. We can manipulate the data from the actual preview itself. So if we click a field, we can rename it. And if we shift-click a field, we'll exclude it. So let's change a few things here. So firstly, let's change title to be product title. And let's exclude dimensions. Oops. Cool. So if I go down on the left-hand side here, you can see how this has, populated the data processing for me. Let's change the cron expression for the demo to make sure it runs every minute, just so we have some data for when we get there. And then from here, we can create a new KV store, select the app context and the fields, which generates the lookup definition. Or we can select a KV store that already exists. So one I created earlier called products. We'll choose to overwrite the KV store and we'll save that there. Cool. So index. The form looks exactly the same. So if I do this, product index, I can fetch the data. I'll change the cron and then select the main index to store the data. Likewise, we can remove keys, change keys, etc. Let's get rid of reviews, and then let's split. So we can create a new event in Splunk for every single product or a new event in Splunk for every different tag, etc., etc. So this is built upon the arrays available within the data. Save. Cool. So now if I go to manage, we've hit another tutorial. So from this page here, we can click the add new data button, which takes us to the page we've just been. We also have this manage data inputs table. So this table shows us the name of the input, what type it is, where the data's going, and the URL. This is like a summary, so you know which input we're about to modify. We then have the enable and disable toggle, so for turning on and off the input. Edit. And then there's some more options and then there's some more actions for the individual inputs. So let's step through this. So let's disable the KV store, for example. I can then edit it. The UI looks very similar to what's on the new input page, but it's just pre-populated the data. Likewise for this. One button I didn't show you is the preview events button, actually. So when we've separated the events by product, it gives us an example of what every event will look like. So that's pretty neat there. And then let's turn that back on. And then we can view the data from each record. So let's view the data for the KV store. Hopefully some data is populated. It looks like it has. If we scroll across, what did we change? The title. So we should see here, yeah, called product title instead of title. And if we go back and we view it for the main index. Cool, so we can see we've got 60 events. It's ran twice within the time frame of us talking, and separated by each individual product. So product ID 30, product ID 29, etc. On this page here, we have some stats. So let's just refresh just to get the most up to date. We can see how many inputs we've got, how many is enabled, the success rate, how many events have been ingested. Remember, we've got 30 each for the index input because we're separated by product, and then I guess the KV stores run 3 times. Log status, info error, etc. And then the distribution for data, basically, where's most of the data going. And then if there is any error messages, then that's what will appear here. I think that summarizes the app nicely. Like I said, any comments, any feature suggestions, any problems you run into, get in touch, splunk@orangeball.dev, and enjoy.